Welcome to SNAP, Survivors of Narcissistic and Abusive Personalities. This educational recovery podcast is presented by Claremont Mental Health and Mandy Friedman, licensed professional clinical counselor. This presentation contains vital information for survivors of abuse. Topics include the spectrum of abusive personalities, targets of abuse, abusive relationships, and survivors in recovery. We hope this information helps you gain solid footing and clarity as you navigate your road to recovery.
Hi everyone, Mandy Friedman here. Today I want to talk to you about naming your deal breakers. So as we are embarking upon this journey of recovery, one of the things that we're going to run into is dating and making new friends, right? This is where you're starting to reintegrate. You've reoriented, now you're reintegrating with new information, a new version of you with the new toolbox of recovery. And you're going to take this toolbox and start making new relationships. Part of your toolbox has to do with you being strategic about who you allow to have intimate access to you. Now, let's think back. We've allowed tons of people to have intimate access to us, and we built a tolerance for toxic behavior, for chronic levels of stress. We had a high tolerance for the unacceptable, and the unacceptable just became normal life for us. Now, today, in recovery, that has to change because guess what? That tolerance, where'd that go? Where did it go, you guys? It goes away, doesn't it? So the healthier you get, the less you tolerate. At first, you'll be like, God, I don't understand, but I went to this thing and seemed like everything was okay, but I just really didn't want to be there. And this particular person was really irritating me. And, you start to get confused as to why everyone's irritating you, or why you feel unsafe, or why you feel that you're not heard or you're known among the people, your family, your friends, right? All of a sudden, you're like, wait, these relationships actually aren't that healthy. And furthermore, I'm putting up with a lot of crap. But we were always doing that. But now things are different. Your nervous system is different now. It's more regulated, and it requires for you to have stability, peace, balance, and healthiness in your life in order to maintain all this hard work you've done on your path of recovery from abuse. Okay, so this is what I mean when I say naming your deal breakers is one of the tools in your new toolbox as you start to make new friends and new dating relationships. Okay, now I want to talk about the neurobiology of emotions in a very simple way. You heard the term love is blind. Well, we know that, right? I mean, like preaching to the choir. If you're listening to this podcast, then you certainly know that love is blind. But what I'm talking about specifically are those warm, fuzzy feelings you get from people. If you're dating and you meet a new person and they're very attractive, if they're, saying the right thing, they smell good, they like the same stuff you do, guess what's going on in your brain? Right? It's all those feel-good chemicals. They make you feel high. You are high. You are literally high. You're high on feel-good chemicals in your brain. And we're operating out of a basis of emotion. And you're starting to fantasize about the future. And the things we think about that we don't even want to admit, right? So we meet someone. Now, this could be an intimate partner scenario, dating scenario, or it could be that you're dating for friends. You're meeting new people and you met this new friend and you're like, wow, I just love talking to this person. I'm so happy that I have them as my friend now, right? And you're so happy when you see them. That's all good stuff, you guys. I'm not saying that we shouldn't have those warm, fuzzy feelings, but just keep in mind that it's chemical. We hope that it is something that is sustainable, right? And then this person does bring these good feelings and this healthy happiness into our life in a sustainable long-term way. However, at the very beginning, it's very easy for us to get confused when those feel-good chemicals are going off when we first meet someone. So what I'm suggesting is we sit down with all of the information that you've learned, the perspectives that you've gained, your history, what what you know about yourself now, what you know about people. You have discovered the things that don't work for you. You've discovered your must-haves and your can't-haves. These are your deal breakers, right? It's important that we name those ahead of time. We name them now. And I mean, name them like literally write it down. So, for example, I'm an introverted person. I'm kind of sedentary. I like watching TV, eating good food, hanging out at home. You know, that's pretty much what I like to do. So, if I were dating or looking for friends and they are go, 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 do types, and they need to be out and about. Yeah, so that's probably not going to work for me. I'm not a big hiker. I'm not going for walks every day. So if this person has 3 dogs, that's too many dogs for me. Maybe 3 cats would be okay. If they had 8 children, right? Too many children. This all sounds so silly. Like, some of this stuff is pretty obvious, right? Like they need to be honest. Hopefully they're employed. Hopefully they have somewhat of an education of some sort, if possible. Not that that's a requirement, but for some people it is, right? Now, it used to be we felt we were being very lofty and picky, right? You know those women that are like high expectation types, and we're like, damn, she's super like, who does she think she is? Princess or something, that everything has to be perfect for her. Now looking back, I could have taken a lesson or two from that person, right? So we're raising the bar, you guys. We are raising the standards for our relationships and behaviors in those relationships. Now, let me also point out that I am not judging, right? This is not a judgment. This is not even a criticism. It has to do with chemistry. It has to do with preserving your progress that you've worked so hard on. It has to do with your chemical makeup as a survivor of abuse, how your nervous system functions, how your brain functions as a survivor of abuse. And knowing that that means that you have to manage that moving forward. And part of that management is taking responsibility for what you're exposing yourself to. So when I say that someone isn't a good fit because there's a deal breaker, it doesn't mean that person is a bad, abusive, toxic person. They could be wonderful, but there's something about them that doesn't fit with our new life. Okay, for example, if you used to date someone that was abusive who traveled all the time, and the stress and the abuse would take place as they were coming and going from their travels with their business or wherever, there's a traveling salesman, lots of them are salesmen. So so let's say that in this abusive relationship your partner was out of town a lot, and that was part of what was abusive, was that you didn't have any kind of connection or affection. They were absent. Okay, fast forward, we're dating, awesome person, really happy, looking good, lots of promise here, and then you learn that they travel for work. Now what are you going to do? I know what you're going to do. You're going to say, it'll be all right. It'll be all right. They've got this quality, that quality. I did it before. I can do it again. But I'll tell you what, that will be the thing that winds up being a problem for you. You've already learned this lesson. You already know that it's something that makes you uncomfortable. You already know you have a history with this issue, and so therefore it could be triggering for you. So this is what I mean by naming our deal breakers. It could be something as simple as you're allergic to guinea pigs and they have 4 guinea pigs. Like his kids all have a guinea pig, and you're like deathly allergic to guinea pigs, and you can't go over to their house. Well, no offense, we're not criticizing. They could be a wonderful person, but what is the likelihood that this is going to resolve itself and not be a problem if you have to go into anaphylactic shock and have to have a Benadryl every time you go over there, right? Like that doesn't work out, and you can't ask the person to get rid of the guinea pigs. At a certain point maybe you could, but point is just this: aim high, you guys. Aim high. Ask for what you want from the universe. Say, I want someone who's just as sedentary as I am, who likes watching Netflix and eating good food and staying home. I found my guy. You can find your partner as well, but you have to remember to keep those standards high. Okay, so a deal breaker list is a living document that you can continue to craft based on what you learn in life about yourself and about other people and relationships and what you want. So it's a living document. And the reason why I brought up neurobiology a minute ago is because when we are in that feel good, lovey dovey state, we're not really operating out of our rational mind, our logical mind, are we? I think we can all agree that we've all been in that same feeling where, logic and reason are just out the window. And especially as survivors of abuse, we do have a tendency to move into that part of our brain more frequently. So, what I think about a deal breaker list is it's kind of like you writing a letter to your future self while you're in your rational, logical mind. So, you're sitting down, not with anyone in mind, by the way. When you make the list, don't be thinking of a specific person from your past. Don't be thinking about a specific person that you're wanting to date today. Think about you, just you, and what you want out of life and what you've learned about yourself and what you want your future to be and what you want your kids to be exposed to or not exposed to. How do you want to spend your time? What lifestyle do you want to have? And name your deal breakers, right? So you're kind of writing that letter to your future self. So now you have your deal breaker list, something you can keep working on. Fast forward, we meet someone, and man, really kicking it out, this looks really promising, and we've got some chemistry here. Very attracted to this person. Dating has been really fun so far, but I just learned that, and it could be anything from your deal breaker list. Okay, so let's see, what would be another example of a deal breaker? What about this one, guys? This is a tough one because we're in recovery, right? So we're not judging. We know we're all a work in progress. But what if this person is also in recovery? What if they too have been through some horrific shit and they are coming out of a relationship where it was really messy? They've got a strained high conflict uh, kind of, counter-parenting blended family situation where it's not peaceful, it's chaotic. And even if that person is doing the exact same things you are, going to therapy, listening to the podcast, watching the YouTube videos, even if they're walking the walk right alongside you, it still might be too much for us to be exposed to because we tend to be codependent helper, fixer, savers, right? So you can't sit there and watch someone going through what you went through and not get completely on their roller coaster with them. That's going to be really hard not to do. So therefore, perhaps, maybe this isn't the best fit as it turns out. Okay. I hope this helps you think about ways that you can be strategic moving forward in dating, because we really do need to be a lot more selective and not feel guilty about that. Again, no judgment. This is a scientific experiment. We know which variables cause certain responses, and we're eliminating the variables that we know will bring stress, chaos, upheaval into our life. And we don't want that anymore. We want for our life to be peaceful and there to be balance, and for the people that have intimate access to us, the people that are in our core inner circle, that they know us, they respect us, they respect our boundaries, they understand where we're coming from, they have emotional intelligence and empathy. It's a balanced relationship. There's a give, 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 and another give, 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 and it's not you giving and someone else taking, right? There are elements of healthy relationships that we have to aim for moving forward. Otherwise, do you really want to have another go around? You really got it in you to do it another time? I don't. I got lucky meeting my partner who meets my needs in those ways. I really did get lucky. But you'll find your person too, but you won't if you don't aim for what you really want and be more selective. Don't just let anybody have intimate access to you. Now, we can have fun with people. I mean, in dating, there are people that can be just companions. You know what I mean? It's not a serious relationship, but there's a lot of people that can't do that. There are some people that can have very kind of distant relationships where they get together and do fun things, but that's about it. And then other people, they can't do that. They need to have the genuine, authentic, kind of deep, intimate connection with the person in order to date them. So if you're somebody that can date and just keep it surfacey and light and have a good time, then, that's all good, right? That's all fine. But if it's someone that you want to invite in and be vulnerable with and integrate into your life, boy, we need to aim way higher, don't we?
If you like this podcast, subscribe and leave us a review. Find Mandy Friedman, LPCC CCDVC on YouTube and Facebook. Join the SNAP Survivors of Narcissistic and Abusive Personalities Facebook group and follow us on Instagram @theofficialsnap. Thanks for listening.